And bingo, we are back. Hi, this is RJ Ogren, and this is Painting and Stories with RJ Ogren, although I'm not going to tell you a story or read you a story today, but I am going to paint on Remy. Here's the painting. If you saw last week's show, you saw me working on this, and I've got the wine bottles painted in rough. This one's done. The cheese is roughed in, and the lamp and Remy is roughed in. So I'm going to paint on Remy for a little bit. I see some of you joining already. And this is going to be fun today because I actually have a guest on the show. It's so neat. Pam Turlow, who is an actress, a professional voiceover artist, and a very good friend. She and Ben we've known you guys for 6 years. She's sitting next to me, but you're going to see her in about 15 or 20 minutes, but she's allowed to make comments.
Oh, I am?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes.
I have just made my first comment. I'm excited to be here.
Wait, I'm going to do this so you can see what Pam looks like. Wait a minute. Here's Pam. Where's Pam? There she is.
Hello.
There's Pam. So I'm going to do a few things here and do a little bit of painting, but voiced. You all probably saw, I'm sure that I did Suzanne and I did a video. A video was done of us by Ryan and Stacy Lehman of TMR Productions. What a great magician. We got a private magic show in our living room after the taping was done. But I hope you all take time to go. You can go on my timeline and look at it, or any of the other sites, the group sites that's on there. And what a wonderful couple. We look forward to being with them again. We've made some good friends. So take a moment and look at it. You'll see a lot of neat close-ups. You'll actually get to see more. See Suzanne. People have said, where's your wife? And she's actually up in her study right now writing on her blog, which she does every week. And please go to srogren.blogspot.com to read her blogs. And last one, the week she did last week, was great. She's actually writing about the book we are writing currently about the history of Disney. And just to let you know, too, that a week from today, next Friday, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, Suzanne and I will be guests again on the Crazy for Disney blogcast with Rudy Claire. That'll be our third time on there. Oh, God. So all that being said, I think I got all my little notes in there now. Oh, wait, this is always important. And I didn't start the timer. So if we go over. And actually, I'm only going to paint for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to have Pam introduce her again, and we're going to talk about her new book, The Mystical Mouse. Wait, here, I got to show you. Here, The Mystical Mouse. There. Isn't that a great cover? And that cover was done by another very good friend of ours, who's a great artist, and his name just went right out of my head.
His name is Jim Martin.
Jim Martin. Mm-hmm. Is a great artist, and so he designed that cover, and I didn't get to do it. I was too busy, but I like Jim's cover a lot because he's incredible. So anyway, yes, what I am doing here, and if you can see in the doorway of I've got the couple here looking out at the scene of Anton and Remy having a grand old time with a lot of wine and cheese. So this is a fun, special painting. I'm really enjoying doing this. And I'm going to, I know I'm pretty good at recreating things, but I still need to have a picture to get things right. So you're going to see that. And I'm using that to get his image. I could just cut it out and glue it on there, but it wouldn't work quite the same. I'm going to try not to get paint on Pam. Excuse me.
That's okay. I'll just put on my drop cloth.
Oh, Oh, all right. That'll work. Oh, I have to tell you, the bottles of wine all going to have special names on them for Sarah, who I'm doing this painting for. And you can see one is already done. That's magic wine. And then the other white wine over here is going to be Chateau Disney. And then I'm going to have a Beast Rosé, a M&M on one, Walt on another, and a surprise on the last one, which I'm not going to tell Sarah yet. That'll be funny.
That is just so cool. Really.
I love this because the colors are so rich. And I will tell you, I was thinking of doing a wash over the background to soften it. But after I got it all done, I went, no, I like that. It's just so nice and bright. Now I have pre-mixed, toss that out of the way. I'll be picking stuff up all over the house after I get done here. There we go. We're in tight quarters, we really are, even though I have a big studio. Oh, Angie, thank you. Oh, thank you for your service. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's right. Today is Veterans Day. And I'm a Vietnam veteran, and yeah, it's enough of that. On to the fun stuff. Okay, Remy actually is blue, black, and white and gray. And got one of my mixing containers again, and I've got different colors in there. I also have this red that it's not right out of the tube because I mixed some other color into it to get this, make it even a richer color. I have some pink and I have some gray. And I'm going to, actually what I'm going to do first is put in something because he looks so weird like this. There, make him come to life. And a little bit of black behind his mouth. And then I will put in a little bit of this darker shade of pink that I mixed. I don't think that'll be dark enough, a little bit darker. Pam can sit here and go,
No. I am enthralled,
Okay.
RJ.
And for those of you just joining, or haven't joined before, I am RJ Ogren. I'm a former Disney artist at Walt Disney World. I was an artist there in the 70s with 3 other artists in a studio behind Small World, and we did all the audio animatronic figures and all the attractions and all the props and all the sets. So everything you saw in the Haunted Mansion, especially the figures, we did those. So, enough of that. I'm going to make this a little bit darker on his lip here. There we go. And actually, he has a little bit of a black below his lip. Where's that part of his lip? Actually, because I put on movies to watch while I'm painting, I actually was watching this one yesterday, which is kind of fun to do while you're working on the figure. And a little bit around the eye. So I'm working with such a small brush here, you really hard for you all to see what's going on. I'm going to switch to a little bit bigger brush, not much. And we'll put some color in his face here. So I'm using a cerulean blue right now. And you can see I also made sure that what I put behind him will help him stand out. I'm going to put a little bit of a highlight. I'm going to mix a little bit of the blue with a little bit of white and come up here on his top of his nose. I kept saying in my post that I was painting a man and a rat. Sounds weird. Oh yeah, I'm highlighting a little bit on his brow right now. And we'll do the same. This is the cerulean blue with white. Lighten this up. And I'm actually dry brushing now. There's not much paint on my brush. So I hope you're all thinking about questions about, I have a few questions to ask Pam to start things off, but be thinking about things you'd like to ask her about her book, The Mystical Mouse. It's about Disneyland, and it's going to be fun. We're going to do that in just a couple minutes here. So I expect all you to be ready.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, he just put us all on the spot. And this will be great because I'll be able to pay attention to what you're all commenting on as we talk with Pam. So I'll be watching the screen on the side. Oh, look, it's Remy. I'm just going to get a little bit of black. A little bit of this pinkish color. Pinkish. I'm making up words. And I'm going to just blend that in with the black I put on there. Then I'm going to take a little bit of white. I hope you all can see this because it's so tiny. When I'm done just a little bit here, I'll bring the screen in closer so you can see it. Or the painting, one or the other.
So you were mentioning that you were using a dry brush there for a bit. Is that how you blend the colors?
Yeah, when with acrylics, when the paint is dry that I'm painting over, and I want to do a little highlight and blend it, I can make sure there's not much paint on the brush, and I can actually just dry brush over it. It gives a little texturing look to the figure too, which is quite nice. And I also use my finger to blend things. So I end up with paint on my fingertips. His nose tilts downward a little bit and back up. You know, I need to have this wetter because of this black. So I can, there we go. Downward tilt from his nose. A little more black. Hey, it's Remy. Cool. How are we doing on time? Oh, look at that. We're almost 15 minutes in, and you're all still there. Oh, hi, Christine. The painting is amazing. I love the background colors. I do too. It just is so rich, the colors. I'm really excited about this. And by the way, Christine, Monday or Tuesday, I'll be starting on your two paintings. Woohoo! One's in blacklight, people. So over the next 2 Fridays, one of those Fridays, I'll be in blacklight, painting in blacklight. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, that's really
And
cool.
Yeah, I hope you'll all be able to see. You may not even be able to see me. You'll just see me painting the colors on. So that's going to be neat. And the subject matter is really cool too. So what I'm going to do really quick here, and then we're going to get with talking with Pam, because that's exciting. I'm excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here. But I'm also extremely excited to see Remy come to life.
Me too.
It's just so cool to watch you. I'm the voice in the beyond right now, which is appropriate for my book if you think about it. But RJ painted a beautiful painting for my husband and I for our anniversary a few years back, and it essentially depicted us on our wedding day, and then like I don't know how many characters are in that painting.
You know, it got so crazy and carried away. I just kept adding, and all of our actor friends were all coming up with their favorite characters.
Right.
And I think it was we counted 145.
It's astounding.
And
yeah,
and actually a few that weren't even Disney characters. We had Indiana Jones.
That's right. That's right. And so we proudly display RJ's painting in our living room. And I always tell people that it's one of those things that, if the, the giant flood or the giant fire or whatever comes, that's one of the things that I will rescue, because it is so, so awesome. And
grab the painting.
Exactly. So it depicts us on our wedding day, and then all these characters are around us as the guests at the wedding. And it's beautiful. Just beautiful.
Thank you.
Look at it. You're welcome.
So much fun to paint. And it was so funny because when you had the painting, it was a couple months later or whatever, when the next movie came out, and there was the character that Ben liked, and he went, RJ, have you seen the movie? I forgot what it was.
It was Inside Out, and he fell in love with Bing Bong.
Yes. And he says, have you seen the movie yet? I said, no. He says, there's this great character. And I said, no. He wanted me to put it in the painting. Now, you can see that painting actually on our website, www.rjogren.com. And that is a website that is myself and Suzanne. The domain we just left is RJ Ogren. It was just easier. But you can see that under my paintings. Actually, the painting I did for you guys is on there.
Wonderful.
So there, I'm just going to stop there. I shaded his chef's hat in a little bit. I'll put up.
That is awesome. I love the shading on his fur, because I can see the texture and the light and the shadow. And folks, I'm seeing it really up close and personal, and it is just fantastic. You're welcome.
She's my agent. See, what was the last show we were in together? Was that Wonderful Life? Wonderful Life?
Yes.
Christmas show?
Yes.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun. So that was 2 years ago, I think, right?
Yes. Yeah, we did a radio play of It's a Wonderful Life, and Suzanne was in it, and our son Sean. Well, everybody, the whole family was in it.
It was 3 years ago, right?
3 years ago, and I was on stage in the sound booth doing live sound effects. It was such a blast. I am going to push this back now.
Oh, you didn't want to show people the detail?
Oh, wait. Back it comes.
You got it. Folks, you have to see the detail.
So I'm going to do this and try not to make you all dizzy. Get it in the right spot. There you go.
Look at the little chef's hat. You can see the little pleats in it.
And the magic wine. And there's the couple in the window.
That's great.
So, fun stuff. And if you're interested in a painting, just message me on Facebook. Oh, and a bunch of you. I already have, what, 250 people have joined my new group site, which is Paintings and Stories with R.J. Ogren. And the last Friday of this month, I believe it is when I will actually start doing these videos on that group site. So please join if you haven't, and it should be a lot of fun. And then you'll know just to go right there each week, or to go away each week. Now we're going to shift, and we get to see Pam. And hey, there she
Hello.
is.
Hi, world.
Pam Turlow, everybody. Great friends. You were just over here a week and a half or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, seeing their lovely new home. It's wonderful. And just being in your studio is like, okay. It just reminds me that you and Susie are like living history. And it's just so cool to know you, and it's so cool to be around all this stuff. I'm sitting here and I'm just seeing like little tickets to Jungle Book and these amazing little magnets, and it just goes on. And of course there's one of the stretch room paintings there, and it just
everywhere.
Anyway, I'm a fan.
Oh, so. Christine says hi, Pam.
Hi, Christine.
And a bunch of you join. Larry, bring on the black light. Yes. Sue.
Yes.
Christine, will I be painting any Disney murals in the new home? I don't know, because I've got so much stuff on the walls. I'm not sure where we painted. We've had them in our other houses. I'm just going to skim down here real quick and make sure I didn't miss any other questions. Oh, Kaz, fantastic, well done from the UK. Hi, United Kingdom.
Hello.
One of our favorite places.
Me too.
Yes, love that. Okay, now, as I mentioned, we've been friends for 7 years, I think now, something like that. And we do a lot of plays together. And you do a lot of voiceover work.
Yes, I do.
And you have written a wonderful book. Yay. And it's actually through this. Yes, this is Theme Park Press. It's the same publisher that publishes our books.
So here it is.
So there it is. It's available on Amazon.
Yes, it is. Or through themeparkpress.com website, which also has other wonderful, well, their books, and which are wonderful, and then other Disney history type books. So there's the cover, which is really cool.
Yes,
I just love
I
the
love
cover.
the cover that he did.
So
okay, so first thing I want to say is tell us about your book.
Certainly. So it was a few years ago. We love Disneyland. We love Disneyland and Disney World, my husband and I. But we call Disneyland like the mothership. When are we going to get back to the mothership?
Yep.
And so we were walking through Disneyland, one of our visits, and it just sort of hit me. I'm walking through going, okay, obviously it's, the Magic Kingdom, the most magical place on earth. And I'm walking through going, and it just hit me, what's the backgrounds of the stories of all the attractions? Where does it come from? At the same time, I learned from a friend of mine that Walt Disney in the 1930s, right before Snow White came out, he took this wonderful trip to Europe with Willie. And when he was there, they collected like hundreds of books that many of them had mystical leanings, or maybe things about like various world religions or belief systems and mysticism.
And magic books too. In fact,
Oh, tell me about the magic.
Well,
books.
I have a book here. I think I showed it once. It's a copy of the magic book that Walt used to create for him and his Imagineers to create some of the illusions in the Haunted Mansion. And it's called Magic. I'm looking up at the book. But it was originally printed in 1897. So that's the kind of stuff they would use. But then there was all these other mystical things.
Right, exactly.
That you've written about.
So So then I started doing some research, and I started to learn things that were very interesting. So, for instance, in Adventureland, in Disneyland, is the amazing. It's my favorite ride in the world, the Indiana Jones ride.
Yes,
okay,
I love that ride.
Yeah, and you know the whole premise is don't look at the Eye of Mara because bad things can happen.
That happens to me every time I'm there.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Why am I
Yeah, you haven't learned yet. I don't know. So I learned after doing some research that Mara's based on an actual demon. Yeah, and you shouldn't look in his eye. And so in the book, I have a little chapter that talks about Mara and how he had some parallels with the devil in Christianity. So, you know, I'm like, that sort of blew my mind. I was like, what, really? You know, and there it is in Disneyland.
Wow.
And then I started to, one of my favorite attractions is the Enchanted Tiki Room.
Yeah.
I love the Tiki Room
which
so
I love
much.
working on. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And so, you know, before you go into the Tiki Room is the little pre-show with Tongaroa and I'm Tongaroo and all that. And so I started looking up the history of these tiki gods. They're based on actual tiki gods. And I'm like, really?
I did not know that, and I worked on them.
Yeah. I mean, again, it blew my mind. So I have a chapter where I introduce you to each of the tiki gods so you get to know what they're all about for real, because it's based on the Polynesian gods and those belief systems.
That is very, very neat. That's brilliant.
It's there.
That's brilliant.
You know? So,
wow.
So the book is basically, it'll help you to, next time you go to Disneyland, and Disney World too, because a lot of the attractions are similar at Land and at World, to walk through the park with kind of looking at it under a different lens. You know, that it is the most magical place on earth. Yes. And guess what? It really is a magical place. So it's,
Hence the book.
Hence the book.
So I don't have to write. I had a question here. What got you interested in writing about the mystical side? You pretty much have told us that.
Right.
Well, here's a question. Now, let's go right with this.
Mm-hmm.
What makes New Orleans Square the most mystical land?
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Well, for me personally, when I go through New Orleans Square, I feel Walt is present. Okay? I know we can get a little woo-woo because the book does have some woo-woo. At the end of each chapter, I have these like little spells and things that you can do. It's a woo-woo book. Exactly. It's you can do some magical work.
Now you have to read it.
You do. It's a lot of fun. So when I walk through New Orleans Square, I just feel like Walt is there. Now let's put a pin in that because I want to talk about that specifically in a sec. But New Orleans Square is based on late 19th century New Orleans. Right. So when you're walking through it, I mean, it really does have that amazing antique vibe. Walt Disney loved New Orleans, and he got the idea, I believe, for the birds in the Tiki Room I think animatronics, period, by seeing a little mechanical bird in a cage in an antique shop in New Orleans.
And that I had heard, yes, which is really cool.
Yeah, and that just like, you know, being that he was so amazingly brilliant, it just sort of triggered something in him, and then he brought the bird to, I believe, his Imagineers and said, what can you do? What can you do here, you know? So anyway, New Orleans Square it's teeming with mystical things. You've got the Haunted Mansion, obviously, and Pirates of the Caribbean. But if you walk through New Orleans Square, you will see a lot of different things that I mentioned in the book that have to do with reaching out to the other side. For instance, there's peacocks everywhere, like drawings of peacocks, peacock artwork. The peacock, you know, the feather, it's got like that eye on it. That's the mystical eye. And some believe that actually helps you to contact the other side.
No wonder I keep following those peacocks around.
There you go. So that's just one example within the artwork and the architecture in New Orleans Square. There's a lot of mystical images and symbolism.
Wow.
Yeah.
Christine, you have a question here. And hello to a bunch of you. You're all saying hi to Pam. And if you've just joined, this is Pam Turlow, a good friend and fellow actor. And she has her new book out called The Mystical Mouse.
I'm going to let it float here in a mystical way.
A little bit this way. There we go. There it comes. Available on Amazon. It's Theme Park Press is the publisher, the same one that publishes our books, Suzanne and I. And it is. So, Christine, your question is, how long did it take you to research the material for your book? That's a good question.
Oh, thank you, Christine. I was probably gathering some material for as much as a year and a half, but then when I really started, when I was told by the publisher, get it done by this day, that's when
it scares you.
Oh, exactly. Oh gosh,
I have to write it.
It's time to do it. It took me about 9 months to write it. Period. So I was doing a lot of research and then writing and doing research and writing. So I would say about 9 months.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, I was working. Well, yeah, I don't know if you've seen my posts on Facebook, but it would be like, all right, it's another day, another picture of Pam's coffee at the coffee house where I'm writing. You see a picture
of... You were at the coffee house a lot, right?
All the time. All the time, because it made me zippy and kept me focused. So.
That's drinking my coffee.
There you go.
In mouse bug. Wait a minute. I always go the wrong way. There we go.
There you go. All right.
But anyway. Christine. Oh, the jambalaya in New Orleans Square.
Well, that's just a religious experience on its own.
Yes.
I would say. Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. And then, remember how I said put the pin in it about Walt in New Orleans Square? So one of the chapters in my book talks about hauntings at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Many say...
I was going to ask you about
that.
Okay.
Yeah, many people say that it's quite the haunted place. Believe that if you wish or not. However, there is a video that you can find on YouTube that some people feel is a video of Walt walking after hours, kind of near the rivers of America, and then kind of going down where there's the entrance to Pirates of the Caribbean, and then just kind of walking through. Some people say that it is like old videotape, so that it has kind of like a ghosty image of a person anyway, and that could be the situation. And even though I'm mystical, I'm also cynical. So I've taken a good look at the video. It's really hard to tell if it is just a ghosting on the video film or if it's the real deal. But what's interesting is it's a tall man. It's a tall, thin man, or a tall, thin male figure of some sort. You can't make out a face. You can't make out like, oh, that's a 1965 suit, or or anything like that. But it's interesting. So look up like Disney haunting videos, Disneyland haunting videos on YouTube, and you may find it.
So if any of you have read my book, The Design of Fear, I talk about coming into contact with real and imagined ghosts. So I believe in ghosts. We had one in our big house we owned in Virginia for a number of years.
Wow.
But every time Suzanne and I go to Disneyland, we always talk about how we feel that Walt is there, that we can feel his presence.
Really?
But it would be so cool to actually see something like that.
Yeah. Well, also in my book, I believe that I had Walt kind of talk in my ear at one point. I won't say what he said. It was very encouraging to me writing the book.
You're not going to tell us?
I'm not going to tell you. No. Okay. What I want to know is when you're at Disneyland, where do you feel that it there's Walt's presence?
By the fire station.
Yes.
And Main Street,
yes.
especially, and I always get that in the Haunted Mansion because I know I love that, and in the Tiki Room.
Really? That's really interesting.
Because I don't know,
Yeah.
strange.
Well, but if he loved them both, and that, the Tiki Room, the birds in the Tiki Room were the first animatronic figures, right?
Yeah.
So in the park, so maybe that's really interesting. Yeah. No, I will so agree with the firehouse. And and on my birthday a few years ago, we had the blessed opportunity to go and visit up there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. You can't touch anything. It's you have to be very careful.
All right, here's
questions.
Here's questions.
Oh, I see a name.
Oh,
right
hi,
now.
Sarah Malloy.
Hi, Sarah Malloy.
First time listener. You're listening because Pam is another fellow actor, people. And
she's my adopted sister.
Yes.
Hi.
Okay, Christine. Oh, Christine has another question. What was your favorite part to write about?
That's a really good one. I would have to say New Orleans Square. And the Haunted Mansion. And when I talk about the Haunted Mansion, I go beyond the magical effects, which of course are astounding, but I do talk about the different types of hauntings that are portrayed in the ride. So you've got Madame Leota, a medium, because she is helping the spirits to come along. And so mediumship is based on the 19th century, well, it began in the 19th century, belief system of spiritualism. And that was that basically is, tap on a table, spirits from beyond. Madame Leota's my jam.
And Leota, I got to work with Leota too.
The actual
who was the one who did the original. That was in
my goodness.
Both mansions for many years, and not her voice. They used an actress to do her voice because the actress could do it more menacing. When they actually did Leota, that was just a test to see that it would work, and she looked so good doing it. That's why they kept her in there.
Iconic. Was it the voice was Eleanor Audley? Was that Eleanor Audley?
I think it was. And Leota was a trip. She came out and spent 3 weeks working on some stuff with us. And that's where she tried to feed a gator.
That's awesome.
And that's one of our chapters.
That's awesome.
But yeah, and I am always so touched to see the very reverent tombstone done for Leota right at the entrance to the Haunted Mansion.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, because the tombstones have names of Disney legends on them, and people that I work with, like Mark Davis and Waithel. You'll see one with Waithel's name on it. And, but when they did hers, it was just very. What an honor to even have been in the same room as her.
And we're talking about Disney World, correct?
Well, I think it's a Disneyland the same way, isn't it?
No, the one at World is actually cooler. The tombstone that's right before, and it's the eyes open up, and then
I know. Leota would love it.
Yes. Oh my goodness. God. So what other questions do we have?
Oh, Christine again. Oh, he walks through the Haunted Mansion gate. Yeah, I can believe that. It was always so weird when I would be in the mansion, checking all the figures and making sure before the park opened if there were any quick fixes on a skin or something, or a touch up, or something we saw that we wanted to pull out that night so we could work on it the next day.
Mm-hmm.
But to be in there alone was always like, oh my God, it was so weird. Everything's running, everything's ghosts are screaming and howling, and there's nobody else around. So.
That is awesome.
I loved it. I really did.
Was Christine saying that she thinks that Walt's ghost walks through the gate?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Christine, you always said
that's a story I have not heard.
You always say you were Walt in your former life. Laugh out loud. It's funny. I think I say the same thing.
That's awesome.
Okay.
I walk into Disney, Christine says, and I get teary. I cry at the parades and fireworks. And then you have an LOL. I'm not laughing about that. I'm agreeing with you.
Yes, totally with you.
At the end of every Disney day, I'm a weepy mess, and my husband has to like basically drag me out. And always we say, till next time, place.
Yeah.
Till next time,
I
place.
see, Sean, you said, I remember seeing the eyes on the tombstone. It's very subtle. Yes.
Yes.
In fact, the first time I saw it, I didn't even realize it. And somebody says, "Did you see that?" And I went, "What?" Oh my God! That's like, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, you have to like wait for it.
Tom Walker.
Hi, Tom
hi guys.
Walker.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
Another fellow actor.
Yay.
What was the most surprising discovery you learned through the researching and writing your book?
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a really good question, Tom. Thank
Put you
you.
on the spot.
Yes. No, I'm ready.
All right.
Okay. So I was amazed by looking at the hub. So you've got the hub of the park. And then if you go north, you go into Fantasyland. You go to the east, you go to Tomorrowland. You go south, it's Main Street, USA. And if you go to the west, it's Adventureland and Frontierland and New Orleans Square. See?
Whoa.
Okay?
Okay.
I was amazed at looking at the directions of where the different lands are located, how it correlated with various elements on the Native American medicine wheel, as well as like pagan or Celtic wheel, where the different directions have various correspondences. There's many levels to this, but I'll sum it up this way. So if you look in the north, that's the direction of going through the journey and coming out wiser than when you came in. Think about the different rides that are in Fantasyland. So you've got Peter Pan, you've got Pinocchio's Daring Journey, Snow White. All the characters start out and they're scared and they go through scary things and they come out at the end and it's and happily ever after, or they've learned something, right? So that corresponds with the direction of the north. In the east is the direction of new beginnings. So that's Tomorrowland, right? In the south is Main Street, and that's more connected with hearth and home and comfort and protection and security. So Main Street, I mean, it's like it's home. It was patterned after Walt's home. And then in the direction, pardon me?
And then
in the direction of the west, so you've got Adventureland and New Orleans Square. The direction of the west corresponds with, let's just say, the afterlife.
No wonder Haunted Mansion is over.
Exactly, and it corresponds with death. And it corresponds with the element of water. So what's in that direction? There's the Rivers of America. There's the log flume ride. I mean, Splash Mountain, and also, of course, Pirates of the Caribbean, which incorporates water and death and all these things. When I started to see all of these correlations, Tom Walker, I was blown away.
Wow.
So
I kept falling in the water at Pirates of the Caribbean. 3 times I fell in the water.
I once had that water splash me. That was stinky water.
Yeah, you don't want to fall in it.
No.
Sarah, so see you real soon.
Why? Because we like you.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Pam?
Mm-hmm.
We're thrilled. Oh, wait, this is really cool.
Yeah.
Pam has something here that is so neat because I like this kind of stuff. I really believe in mysticism and everything.
See?
So, yeah,
Awesome.
I'm ready for this.
Thank you.
You're going to show them what you got.
All right. So on the back, we see a lovely Disney design. On the front, we see Pinocchio as the fool in the tarot, because what I've got here is a Disney tarot deck. Can you buy it? No, you can't. My husband found it as a free download because I'm sure that with copyright laws, there's no way this could ever be actually printed and sold.
Oh, those are so neat.
But yeah, so we've got Pinocchio. Make sure that
tilt
you
it
can
a little bit, I think.
There you go. You've got Pinocchio as the fool which ties in with my chapter on Pinocchio and his daring journey, that his journey correlates with the fool's journey in the tarot. I'm a professional tarot reader. I've been doing it for like 20 years. I use it even in my life coaching. And
how come you haven't done that for me?
You didn't ask.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Well, then how about if we do it right here?
Oh, we're going to do one.
So I am going to shuffle these cards.
I may not want to.
I'm going to, no. And then I will let RJ pull a card and do a one-card reading right now from this wonderful Disney tarot deck. And this is just the first 22 cards of the deck, which is called the Major Arcana or Arcana.
This is the good part of the deck.
Yes.
Oh, good.
The way that I read tarot, it's all good.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
Yes. So feel like where the sympathetic vibrations drawing you.
Except this card. Okay.
All right. So let's see what you have.
Oh, goodness.
Okay. I love this. Okay. I know you're a very, very busy man, but this card is the Hermit, and we've got Merlin from the Sword in the Stone.
Yeah.
Right? So we've got him depicted here. So the Hermit is a wise man. The Hermit card shows up when you should probably take a little break.
That's what my wife said this morning. We need a vacation.
There you go. And so wonderful that, yes, I mean, so it's about taking a break and kind of just withdrawing from the busyness of life and just taking some time to hermit for yourself and maybe do some quiet reading or meditation or contemplation, get out in nature. It's that kind of thing. It's just that sense of just pulling back from the busyness of life.
Funny. We're working, of course, real hard on our next book about the history of Walt Disney World from a unique perspective, which will be out next year. But also we're doing that. Suzanne is researching a lot on that right now, just like what you just did. And I'm doing these paintings one after another, trying to catch up after we spent 3 months finding a house and moving.
Right.
And I am catching up, but I am getting tired. It's like every night I put down my brushes and I go, oh. And and I'm not going to say when, because everybody will say, when? No, but we are going to take a break. We're going to Disney World.
Wonderful.
What a spot to go and relax.
Wonderful. So Merlin the Hermit, he's basically saying this is a good thing that you're taking a little break.
Oh,
that's wonderul.
Oh, look
at questions?
There's you two are absolutely adorable.
You are too.
Yeah, thank you.
What else?
We have so much fun together. You should see us in shows. Oh, speaking of pirates, this is Christine again. That is one of my most favorite smells in the world.
Isn't it an interesting smell?
Yeah.
No, the one time we were seated in the back, and I don't know, maybe we were too heavy. I don't know what happened, but that water hit, and it was sloshing around. And I remember I was wearing a skirt and tights, and I was so soaked through. I was in the ladies' room just wringing my skirt out, and that water really smelled funky. So I think it smells really neat, but the water itself is funky.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know I followed it 3 times. I was like the second day I was working as an artist, and we pulled practical jokes all the time. Oh, and we actually, it was my first time to go in Pirates in the morning before the park opened, and we went in this hidden door, and all of a sudden we were on top of all the jewels and coins and everything, and walking down it toward the water. And at night, all the boats are parked inside the attraction because they don't all fit in the backspace where they keep them. And I said, "Oh, this is so cool." I says, "Where are we going?" He says, "Going over to the jail scene, which is right across, of the boats." Right. And he steps down onto the seat, walks across, and steps over. And he says, "Just walk across the front of the boat." And I should have just followed him.
Oh no!
I stepped on the bow, and of course,
feet
went out from under me. I'm lucky I didn't kill myself. And I went in the water for the first time. I got out, and he said, "Do you have fun?"
Wow!
I knew I was in trouble from that moment on. He got me another time, but it was a couple of years later, and we were crossing over the boats again. It was in the scene with all the with the captain trying to sell the
right,
changing, which I think is cool.
Exactly, yeah.
But we stepped across, and then there was actual boat that's a real boat that they found in wherever, like Italy or somewhere, a wooden boat. And I was in front of Lee, and he says, just step across on it. And they knew. I did not know that it was rounded bottom. And the minute I stepped on it, the whole boat just went, whoosh, and I just went right down in the water again.
No, stinky water.
Anyway.
That's a clothespin.
Well, we could dive. We could go diving in 20K anytime we wanted. So I could always run up there if the park was open and jump in the water. We would go in sometime and just snorkel in there, but usually with scuba gear on.
Very neat.
But anyway.
Okay. Do we have any other questions?
Ed says take a vacation and come down to Disney.
Yay!
All right. Anybody have another question?
How are we on time?
Oh, how are we on time? On time, we are, oh, look at that, 51 minutes.
Oh,
we
good.
Still have about 9 minutes if anybody would like another
time.
question about Pam's book. Again, if you've just joined, this is her new book, just out.
And that is your copy, by the way. That is my gift to you. Enjoy.
You all can't have this one. She's going to sign it for us.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen the whole live video here, if you go back and watch it from the beginning, I actually was working on this painting of Remy, and
I'm trying to. This is how weather people try to work with a screen.
And Anton, I forgot his name.
There's Remy.
having a grand old time with a lot of wine and a lot of cheese.
Yay.
But we will treasure this. This is available on Amazon and through Theme Park Press. And Pam Turlow is a longtime friend of ours, and fellow actor, as is your husband Ben.
Yes.
And Suzanne. We're all actors.
Yeah.
We're all around.
So.
And let's see.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Well, Ed just asked, can I get it on Amazon? Yes, you can.
Yes.
Ed has our books.
Awesome!
So,
thanks, Ed.
Yes.
Yeah, it's available through Amazon, or you can go, directly to Theme Park Press. Yeah. And then you can, it'll basically send you to Amazon.
Either way.
And it's available printed or on Kindle.
Yes. So. And if you want real excitement, buy her book and then buy one of ours with it.
Yes. Yes. Make it a meshed set. Have your little Theme Park Press Disney library.
So shameless.
I do. But no, I've got that too. So I have their books. And then I've got a couple books from Theme Park Press by Jim Korkis, who's an amazing Disney historian. And
there are other Disney legends that have written books that are on Theme Park Press. It's a great publisher and great people.
Yes. Including Bobby Burgess, who was one of the original Mouseketeers, who I met at D23 a couple of years ago, and he's so sweet. I was honestly starstruck. I'm like, it's a Mouseketeer.
Yeah, they have a book.
I'm talking to a Mouseketeer.
He's so cool. They have Tom Navy, who actually was the original. He worked his way up into operations and everything for many years. But he was the original Tom Sawyer. Actually played Tom Sawyer on the island at Disneyland.
Oh, cool. Oh, I read about him. Yeah.
Suzanne got to work with him a few times at Disney World. And Sully Sullivan, who I got to work with, has got a book. It's a great place to find great Disney books. But when you go there, you want to buy Pam's book first and then our books next.
Oh, and I have another book actually on Theme Park Press too called The Cotton Candy Road Trip. I originally self-published it, and then I went through Theme Park Press, and he narrowed it down and edited it nicely.
Yes,
and it's about
going to
all the old vintage amusement parks throughout the country.
Yes.
So Disneyland was one of the parks I visited for Cotton Candy Road Trip, but I also visited just parks across the country.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with them. And each one, thank you. And each one has such an amazing story to tell. Each park had that amazing spirit of place. You know when you walk into a place and you're just like, there's just so much history here. So many people have passed through and have enjoyed themselves.
What was the one that closed at Chicago here? That was one that was around forever.
Almost start to cry.
And because I was born in Aurora, which is where we now own our house, and but after we've been here 5 years, we moved to Rock Island, which is on the Mississippi,
right
straight across the state. And we would come back to visit all of my Swedish relatives, my Swedish grandmother and grandfather, in St. Charles and Aurora and everything. And then we'd go into Chicago to visit more relatives, and we'd go right by that park.
Yeah,
and we would stop, and then it was hardly anything was there. It shows you how old I am. But I remember riding on the ponies.
On the ponies, and my father-in-law. Hi, Dennis Dooley, if you're tuning in.
Sarah has a question.
He also remembers riding on the ponies. It was Kittyland in Melrose Park.
Kittyland.
And I adored that park.
Yeah.
And I was there the last day.
Yeah.
That
it was
open.
Only a few years ago that it closed.
Yes, it closed in 2010, 2009.
Yeah. So there's another neat book to read.
Yeah.
See?
Thank you.
Okay, Sarah, our good friend Sarah. Pam, maybe you've already answered this, but do you have any specific cast member stories? For example, longtime cast members who might have their own ghostly experiences.
Well, actually,
I have my own.
You have your own.
Go ahead.
Well, you know what? I'm going to give you a thumbnail of one of the stories that I had heard about my favorite restaurant at Disneyland, the Blue Bayou, of it being haunted by the spirit of a gentleman in a gray suit. I believe it was a gray suit. And one of the servers saw this gentleman. And the server was scared to talk to me. So the story went through my server from him. So the Blue Bayou. The Blue Bayou, indeed, haunted.
Okay. Well, Sarah Glenn. Hi, Sarah. I've read your books. Our books. Oh, thank you. Yay. And look forward to reading hers also.
Thank you.
I've had veterans day on my mind. Thank you for your service, RJ. Well, thank you, Sarah.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Sarah Thornton made it in the nick of time, RJ. This is actually her painting.
You're gonna love this.
So you have to go back and watch it if you haven't seen this from the beginning.
My goodness.
Sarah says my favorite too. So. Yeah, isn't this been great? How are we doing on time?
So much
I think
fun.
We're just about at our look at that. Almost an hour right there, yes. Wow.
If you would have me visit again, I would love to visit again. I can give you another tarot card pull.
Oh, okay, let's do another one.
You want to do another one? Okay. So I'm a professional tarot reader, and I've got this kind of, you can't find it anywhere.
These are Disney tarot
cards. And RJ pulled the Hermit, which essentially means that he should take a little break. So how about if you do, well, you know what, I'm going to shuffle it a little bit.
Yeah, I'll probably pull the same card.
Pull the same one, which is like,
really
need to take a break.
So.
Okay. All right.
Okay, this time I'll take it from the middle.
Okay.
Oh my God, that's hysterical. Oh, that is very funny.
Send us a message from somewhere beyond. He got the same card.
That is very, very funny. Sarah says, Malloy, seriously, take a break. I promise. In fact, I think I'm going to have a drink tonight. Okay, everybody, you've been watching. This is great having you all on here. And let me know. I would love to have you back on. This is so much fun.
Thank you.
And we can talk
a lot of fun.
We can talk about other things at both parks and comparisons and just all kinds of stuff. And maybe we can convince Suzanne to come on here with us.
Yes.
She's going to say, "Oh, you don't want to see me?" Sure,
we sure do.
She was on the video we were just that they just did. The Layman's just did.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
if you get a chance, watch that.
She's got tons of stories.
Oh, look at all the hearts flying across.
Oh,
thank you,
guys.
Ollie. All these little hearts flying across our screen. Everybody, thank you again. Oh, wait.
Thank you.
Christine.
Big
one
question.
last thing here.
Okay.
Ed says, somebody is telling you something. Well, this may sound weird, this is from Christine, but you know how people always wanted to spread ashes in the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
But I don't know why Disney doesn't make a place that people could buy for their loved ones' ashes. Well, that would be wild.
That's a nice idea.
Can you imagine being buried in the Haunted Mansion? But I'd want to be able to, I'd have to be a ghost, though. I'd have to be a real ghost.
I would just want to be in the No, not in the ballroom, in Madame Leota's room.
Yes.
I can be like one of there's the tamarines flying around and everything. Just have a Pam just floating around.
Yes. The funny thing is, when I interviewed for the position for the fourth artist, I actually was replacing Leota Toombs because she was there for the first few years training the other three artists.
Yeah.
And when they finally said, she says, I want to go back to the studios and work at the Hollywood studios again on all the figures. And so they realized by that time that they needed 4 artists, not 3, to get all the work done.
Okay.
And so I ended up actually replacing Leota. And I always kind of joked, when I leave, is my head going to be in the mansion floating?
Floating. No,
hasn't happened yet, folks.
See, you put your hands here and then you go, ooh, like you're floating.
And on that note,
thanks, everybody.
We are going to say goodbye. Thank you all for joining us. I will have Pam back on, and actually maybe in about 3 or 4 weeks or so.
That would work.
Yeah, this is fun. I'm enjoying this a lot. Let me know what you think, everybody. And we've enjoyed having you, and have a great day, and have a magical Disney day. How's that?
There you go.